welcome to another episode of Everything LCS. This time we're doing things a little bit different. Yeah, a special episode. It's the rewards episode. Are we calling it the rewards episode? Yeah, right?
Rewards, awards, whatever. Either one, yeah.
All right, rewards, awards. We are here to talk about the best players and the best team, and we're excited to bring our own thoughts to you guys. I mean, we do it every week, but here we are. Also, before we begin, just special shout out to some of our listeners that we've gotten. We saw some people in the Netherlands, some really nice 70-year-old grandma as well. So really great shout out for so really thank you guys for taking time to listen to our podcast and giving us a chance. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, seriously, guys. Like every week you guys have continued to listen, and thanks to everyone who's been listening since the first episode. It means a lot to us. It's kind of a passion project for us, but we love it. We hope you guys keep enjoying it. So yeah, here's where you get to listen to our insane picks for players of the split.
Yeah, no one's going to expect the first All-Pro team for LCS.
Drum roll.
Who do you think it is?
Cloud9.
It's Cloud9. Legit, the whole team of Cloud9.
Congratulations,
This is the
Cloud9.
first All-Pro team.
Okay, now we got that out of the way. Do you want to move on to the second All-Pro team?
Yeah, we can move on, but we could just say, as we know, these guys are amazing. That's it. All right, they complement each other. They cover each other's weaknesses. So, yeah, good job, Cloud9. Really good job.
Clearly, best team in the league right now, all 5 positions. We've yet to see anybody really expose anything yet, so it's hard not to give all 5 players first team All-Pro for the midseason.
Yep. Let's just hope they just keep it up during their playoffs. But now with that, getting C9 out of the way, let's start with our second All-Pro team. This is a more juicy.
Ooh.
We're gonna start off with the top lane picks. For me, my top laner was Broken Blade. He had, other than Licorice, he's been the other rock in the top lane. I think he actually got my MVP 3 times this split so far over a couple of episodes, but he's been super solid. He's been a major carry for the team. Last week he got a couple solo kills on Orange, and I feel he was a big part for the 2-0 that TSM had, and he's just been a big part in all the wins, just carrying them through the mid and late game. Honestly, he has made have tackle. So, broke a second All-Pro team top lane, and for you, Vega.
Wow, I hope this doesn't go like this the whole time, but I also picked Broken Blade. I think when, I was kind of going through all the top laners in my head and who I'd watched, I went back and watched a couple of games. And looking at kind of the role Bjergsen has taken in part of the split, which has kind of been a step back supportive mid laner, that, because he's so flexible and pick ban. Broken Blade in a lot of games has been the spear, the carry, whether it be the Kiana game or some of the other games he's played. He's been a real playmaker for them. And I was really worried about him after summer because he didn't really look like he improved from spring last year. But he's been awesome this entire split. Even in losses, he's looked good. So, yeah, it was pretty easy for me to pick him. He hasn't really had games where I was kind of scratching my head. So, yeah, that's me. It's Broken Blade, the second best top laner in the league.
The second best top laner, that is the truth, because
we did all that hype. Second best.
Yeah. Okay, so with our top laners out the way, my All-Pro jungler. I mean, honestly, I feel a lot of people could take a guess on who my All-Pro jungler would be. I have to say mine is Closer. Closer has been a really good force to be reckoned. Even, in losses, he hasn't been the hottest, but he has been, honestly, the second best jungler in the league. Looking for the plays, he really plays how, especially in the early game, he's the one looking for plays, and also he's the one who's been making the shot calls. Not a lot of times the jump. Well, I'm not debatable for the team, but being a jungler that is really impactful, knows to look for a play, and can really make the calls. shots to get Baron at whatever minute and to push the team to those victories and make those insect plays to secure the win. He's been really instrumental, and he's just been a good jungler. I feel if he was on any other team, he would that team would easily be like either third or fourth at least. If you put Closer on like what would be a team? 100 Thieves, I think they'd be like fourth place.
I could see that. Yeah.
And your jungle pick, Vega?
I went back and forth on this a lot because I thought Closer is definitely in the conversation here because he's had such an outstanding split. But I went with Santorin because I think Santorin has quietly had Santorin is my second best jungler in the league right now. And here's why. I think Santorin and PoE together have been the catalyst for FlyQuest being as good as they have been this split. He's been kind of overlooked because of how Ignar and PoE have played and all the flashy stuff they've been doing, but he's been consistent this entire split in the second best team. So for me, I looked at Closer, and Closer probably has less to work with and things like that, and I didn't want to really put that against him, but I was more impressed with Santorin's ability to, when he makes plays and they get a lead, to work with PoE to turn those leads into games, to be able to convert those into wins. So for me, Santorin, second best jungler in the league right now.
All right, good claims. Honestly, you may have convinced me a little bit.
I know I'm not going to get you off Closer. There's no way I'm going to get you off the Closer train. It's impossible.
He's honestly just been a favorite from the start. So as you said, hard to get me off of him.
He was your preseason second team all jungler. Like you had decided
already.
You already knew.
I did. Yeah, I didn't even see him play yet, and he was already my second All-Pro team. Okay, so I guess that leaves us with our mid laners for second All-Pro team. This one, honestly, I feel is no surprise. Power of Evil. This machine has just been consistently smashing mid lanes, even when it doesn't even seem like that. All of a sudden, he just turns it on. It'd be maybe 15, 20 minutes in. You could tell, too, because all of a sudden he's like, oh, I guess I could kill people now. And all of a sudden, here he goes, making the plays, getting the picks, and being the spearhead that FlyQuest needs to just push their advantages. Like, how many times after that they just converted that one solo kill into the first turret, or the game last week when he was Corky, flew in. It was 3v5, I believe. Flew in, triple kill with Corky. He's just been a quintessential piece in FlyQuest, and everyone's been acknowledging it too. He just won MasterCard Player of the Week last week, and people are seeing, hey, he's more than just a control mage, take it slow player. He is a carry with potential, and he knows how he wants to play, and the way he wants to play is what's really helping his team get wins. So he also, let me see, doesn't he lead? Does he lead in damage right now?
I think he leads in damage percentage.
Well?
Yeah.
Yeah. He leads in total damage percentage to champions. He has 36.2. The second best to him is Froggen with 30.3. That's a whole 6 points. And after that, no other team, no other player has that much of a gap between the rest in the damage percentage. It goes 30, 29, 27, 27, 26, 20. Everything else has been consistent except Power of Evil. Power of Evil has just been dominating.
Yeah, I mean, he's my pick too. I think it's pretty clear that PoE is the second best mid laner in the league right now. It's just kind of weird because now when you look at CLG, you almost wonder, was PoE the reason they jumped from like a not playoff team to a third place team? And then without him, they've fallen right back to being a pretty bad team. And I think a lot of people thought it was kind of a side grade for them going from Pobelter to that. But he's shown the split. He's a complete carry. He's lifted that team up into being, a top 2 team now. The only team that even looks close, from getting out of that soup in the middle.
The soup.
The soup. Even I say it now. I can't help it. I just listen to Mark Z, and now it's the soup. It is the soup. But yeah, he's been awesome this split. He's been one of the few standout mids too, because there's a lot of Mauve mids that have been like okay this year, and then there's like a class below that are like a little bit subpar. But he's been, outside of Niski, really the only standout mid laner that I thought, this guy every single game is crushing his opponent. And like you said, it's like a ghost switch. He reaches a point in the game, and then he just starts killing people, just destroying backlines, things like that. And he's just been a lot of fun to watch. It's really cool to see year to year his kind of like growth and kind of like it all coming together this split. And he's good at carries. He's good at control mages. He's good at split pushing. So yeah, it's easy pick for me. I think there's a pretty big drop off from Niski and Power of Evil to the next person.
Yeah, and with our mid laner out of the way, our honestly the most important role. So it's great that he has been getting so much recognition so far. But moving on, we're going to our bot lane second All Pro. Okay, so my pick. People may think I'm trolling it just a bit. Maybe I'm just still too much on the high of how he was looking early on. But my second All Pro team is Altec. Actually.
Oh my gosh.
I'm sorry.
No, I thought about it too. He was in like my conversation too, so that's okay.
Yeah, I feel when it comes to Immortals winning, he has been one of the more key players for it. They have like Ica and Soaz, but honestly, Altec has been one of the reasons for their victories. He would be the one to be able to get the damage off, get the kills. His Ezreal has looked pretty clean. I know this week was pretty rough for Immortals as a whole, but honestly, I feel the bot for Immortals is almost a completely separate entity from the team, just because of how Altec has been one of the consistent players on that team, and honestly, he's been a really shining point for me, seeing and just watching the games. He was another player who he was one of the few players who brought out a mage bot, showing his own versatility, and just his performance has surprised me and has impressed me. So I feel he could definitely be second All Pro.
Okay, you may have convinced me. I was really on the fence about it because I was like, man, Altec is like the only, like, besides Smithy, shining star on that team, really. So I was like, maybe he gets in, maybe he doesn't, I don't know. But I went with my boy, my beautiful boy, Bang, as my second. Bang is my second team All-Pro AD carry / marksman player.
But it's not even his team.
He can't control all 5 players. He can't. He can't control all 5 players.
Feels bad.
I know.
Pouring out for Bang.
Pouring out for Bang. He's actually having, statistically, his best split since coming into the LCS, and he's looked really good in games. Some people gave him flack about games where it feels like he's not that involved, but EG has been such a, I'll just say, dumpster fire of a team. Like, they've won games, but there's so many games you're like, you could win this game so easily if you guys weren't inting. And I feel like in none of those games am I like, what is Bang doing? I'm just like, well, Bang's kind of strong. He's farmed. He's, 1-0 or 2-0 or something like that, but his team is dying around him. Sven and, Jizuke are taking turns running it down. But besides that, I think Bang has had really good laning phase. He's got a high damage percentage, and he's got one of the highest gold to damage conversion rates. So his team is not just like funneling gold into him to be strong either. He's dealing good damage. He's not dying much, and he's taking not a huge gold share on his team. So for me, if I was looking just individually at him in a vacuum, I think he's having the second best split outside of Sven there. The only other ones I could think of that could like maybe in that mess of 80 carries right there. Alltech is in there, FBI probably, but I thought Bang edged him out just a little bit with his in the games where he's been good. He's been exceptionally good, and he hasn't really had a down game yet. So that's my second team All Pro. Bang. Please get your shit together, EG. Please.
Yeah, please. It'd be nice to have 3 different teams in playoffs, actually, rather than the old guard. So please, if you're listening, please step your game up and become a team.
Please,
Instead
please.
of like 2 people from one team and then like 3 different parts. Oh man. Okay. And with now that we got our EG flame out the way, we go on to our All Pro support. This one I feel is a no-brainer. All Pro is
Smoothie.
and it goes hand in hand. Smoothie. Yeah, it's Smoothie actually. How'd you? No, it's not Smoothie. It's Ignar.
It's obviously Ignar.
It's Ignar. Yeah, it's supposed to obviously Ignar. Ignar right now, he has the second highest KDA. I think he's just leading. Yeah, he's second in KDA. He's second in averages. He's second. Well, no, he's second in. Yeah, no, he's third in damage percentage as a support. And he's just been really. He honestly just seeing him play support. He plays all the champions that I like. Plays Alistair. Plays Thresh. Plays Nautilus. And then he's good on Yuumi too. Now that we know, we haven't seen him on other enchanters, but just the way he's been playing, how he's been working the map, how he is the only other support that I have seen that can really put pressure on that. Just like his own existence puts pressure on the enemy team, other than Vulcan. You know, when Vulcan held back all TSM with his Tam Kench. No one runs away from the Tam Kench. But you know, Ignar is one who also puts that pressure on enemy teams. He is he's one of the main players who sets up picks. He works well with mid lane. He just works well on this team. And honestly, I just feel he's just a great player, great guy, and his performance has been just so refreshing to me. I've been a fan of Ignar since Zays on Misfits with Hansama. And Schalke made me sad last year a bit because they got him off of what he was good at and made him not as a prevalent force. But now on FlyQuest, he is he's just really a high profile and has been showing up tremendously. So second All Pro support, Ignar.
Yeah, same for me. Just to add on to what you said, he's just so fun to watch. Like, he's just such a high action. He's roaming constantly as a player. And a lot of supports we watch and stuff like that, I'm like, yeah, they're a playmaking support. And then, like, 1 of 3 games are they actually, like, playmaking, or you're watching laning phase and something happens. But, like, Ignar, every single game, he's like, let's get a kill bot, and then I'm going straight mid, and then I'm basing, and then I'm going top. It's so fun to watch a player do that at a high level and be successful with it, because we just don't get to see stuff like that much. And like you said, his champion pool is awesome. It's stuff I want to see played. Alistair, Leona, Thresh, stuff like that. And he's really like created this. I would say he's one of the biggest pickups of the offseason, because FlyQuest like doubled down on their aggressive nature from last split. And he is like the tip of the spear for them. He is always the second, like, someone uses a dash, Ignar's like going in, or PoE lands like a Q on Syndra on someone, immediately Ignar's going in. And you can go back and watch replays of their games, and it's like something snaps in his head. He's like instantly Leona going in. So yeah, I just think outside of the C9 players, he's been my most fun player to watch. Just because playstyle, everything like that is super fun, and seeing him be successful with it. Even in their losses, he's not really ever been an issue with this team. So yeah.
Yeah. And just to reiterate his champ pool, he has played 8 different champions across 10 games. He played Rakan 3 times, but 8 different champions across 10 games is pretty good.
That's insane.
And it's great to see that versatility. I wish I could see his Alistair again, though. That'd be great.
Oh God.
But but now with our second All-Pro team out of the way, we're gonna do our third All-Pro team. You know, since C9, we just kind of sped run that. We don't really have to explain that. We decided to do a third All-Pro team, and just to give some other players a bit of recognition, because there are some great stars in the LCS. I feel that really stand out sometimes.
Yeah, this is their chance to get something. Since Cloud9's going to win the split, the least we can do is give them everything LCS's third All-Pro team award.
And for our third All-Pro team, my top laner for this is Someday.
Woo! Let's go.
Yep.
Me too.
Some daddy.
Some daddy. Yeah, he's mine too. So this is perfect.
All right, good. So, Someday has, there's a trend here with these All-Pro teams. For me, the consistency and their ability to pop off. Someday only had like one bad game, but I feel like that was just when 100 Thieves just had an off week. But Someday has really been, he's been the what can I call it? He's been the power, just the force. He has been a force to be reckoned with.
He is the engine of 100 Thieves.
Yes, he is the engine. There you go. He is the engine of 100 Thieves. And he had that amazing Lucian game last week, just popped off, and he motivated my other favorite top laner, but he's in Academy. Fake God popped off last week too with Lucian in his Academy game, and I was like, Fake God is like emulating Someday, and Someday is just a super good player. He's someone that you could always play through, even if you don't play through him. He's the player who will get crazy CS leads, and will be the one that is reliable, and that's the best part about him. A lot of some other top laners other than C9, TSM, everyone underneath that, other than C9, TSM, and Someday, those three are the top laners who are just completely solid. And Someday is he's just been a joy to watch when he's the one when he's being aggressive, and you could see he's been a lot more aggressive from the last season as well. He knows what he can do, and he knows how to push his advantages, even though sometimes his team doesn't help it when he comes to push those advantages. He's still been a force to be reckoned, and that's why he's my third All-Pro team.
Yeah,
top laner.
To follow up on that, he's mine too. And if anyone out there thinks that Someday is not at least in the top 3 top laners of this league, go watch that Lucian game. He took over the entire game. Even when they are trying their hardest to lose the game, Someday is refusing to let them lose. And it's like you said, these lists, a lot of it is consistency. People who were consistent the whole split and had a couple pop-off games. Someday is like the epitome of that. I used to say it would be Impact, but Someday is the every single game, if you're watching top, as long as it's not like Meteos trying to dive his Ornn when he's up 60 CS, Someday is massively ahead. God. I know. And, you watch the Lucian game where you're finally like, thank God, let's put your top laner who smashes his lane every game on something he can abuse with, and he goes off. He goes absolutely off on Lucian. Yeah. The top lane for this was easy. Like you said, there really are only 3 top laners that stand out in that way. And honestly, if 100 Thieves was doing a little bit better, I would not be hard-pressed to put Someday above Broken Blade. Broken Blade's team is doing better, and he's had more games where he's closed them out. So that's why I kind of made the choice. But, yeah, Someday's a monster. Has been ever since he came into the LCS. Easily, third team All-Pro.
Okay, and moving off of just worshiping some daddy, the savior of 100 Thieves, we shall move on to our third All-Pro team. My third All-Pro team jungler is actually Dardoch. Dardoch has been the early game leader for TSM. He's gotten like first blood in most of the games. He has a 70% first blood percentage. So out of the 7 games, so 7 out of 10 games, he has gotten first blood, and that's great. That shows his proactivity. Yeah, that shows his proactivity for how he wants to play the game. He's been really important on how TSM has gotten their early game leads, even though they do throw in the mid to late game. He's been the reason why they can throw in the mid to late game. he's been just how he's been moving around the map, how he's been putting pressure on, and his jungle tracking as well. He just know if you look at the mid, sometimes he'd be say topside jungle, and there'd be no wards in the enemy jungle, but he'd ping that the enemy jungler is there, and the enemy jungler is there. He has just fantastic games, and his early game prowess has really been a key factor to why TSM has been winning. Honestly, if Dardoch was not playing how he has been for TSM, or if he wasn't on the team, I feel TSM wouldn't be finding as much success as they have. He's been working well with Broken Blade. He's working well with Bjergsen. He is the key to TSM. If he could just make the mid to late game slightly better, they'd be in contention with Cloud9. But his play has been a key part to why TSM has been getting their wins. So that is why he is my third all-pro jungler.
You made me think about it a lot more now, who my third one is. But I can't do this to you. So my third team all-pro jungler is Closer. He's just, I can't deny, I've been listening to it every week ever since the split started about how good he is. And I think it finally cracked me. It's like seeing the light for the first time. I'm like, you know what? He is really good.
Thank you.
The only knock I had against him at all was, well, he can't quite drag his team across the finish line in every one of these games. But seriously, though, he's lived up completely to the hype. And he was a player that I think when we did our preseason, we were like, he's kind of a question mark. If he pans out, that's awesome. If he doesn't, we don't really know what to expect. But good on Golden Guardians for getting a guy like this who absolutely has made them relevant this season. Because I cannot imagine what this team would look like with a worse jungler. He, like we said earlier when you did second team, he's a monster in the early game. He has incredible game sense. Mechanically, he's probably the second best jungler in the league because I don't think anybody's beating Blabber, especially after that Lee Sin kick last week against CLG. But yeah, he's been awesome. He's been fun to watch. He's made Golden Guardians look like a competitor in a lot of games, and if you want a reason why we have him on our list, you can go watch the Team Liquid game. And I know a lot of people talked about Keith in that game, but Closer absolutely took over that game against Team Liquid. I think he was a slam dunk third best. Dardoch was one I had in the mix with Santorin. My original list had Dardoch, Closer as my second and third, and the more I watched, like Santorin, he crept up there, so I'll give an honorable mention to Dardoch, who would have been my fourth team if it existed. But yeah, I couldn't leave Closer off my list. He's I think the best player on his team, and a team that's still in the mix for potential playoffs. So had to put him on there.
All right, yeah, that's all good points. That's why I'm a Closer. The Golden Guardians, they're not gonna make playoffs, but they at least have Closer, honestly.
Exactly. I am so interested in who your mid laner is for third team.
Oh, my mid laner?
It was so hard for me.
You'll see a trend here. You'll see a trend if we continue on the third pro team. So my mid laner is actually
You did Bjergsen?
So yeah, I did Bjergsen.
So did I.
All right, see? All right.
I was like, well, I looked at like this because after you get past Power of Evil, it's like, man, this is kind of hard. Because I was like, well, maybe Jensen, because Jensen's like the only decent player. But then I was like, I don't know.
Yeah, I was thinking Jensen too, honestly, because but no, I had to go with Bjergsen. I feel if if Jensen was to like be third pro, he would have to do more on the map. He's been good in lane, but that's and like his like game sense throughout the game has been good, but I feel he hasn't been as proactive. Bjergsen has been smashing lane and being the one to help take control of the map. He's been like the game against 100 Thieves. Honestly, the reason that they won that game was because Bjergsen had such a humongous lead on Ryoma. He had so much gold, he had so much damage. He could basically just win any you know. But yeah, Bjergsen just the game. He's also played selflessly. You know, he's used Ornn. He has that was one. He actually did a pretty good game that time. I think he won like 0-0-11, and he knows his role on the team, and he knows how he wants to play. I think he has the second most average assists in the league, and yeah, that just says a lot to the player that he is and the player that he has become for TSM. So, and if you just watch the games and if you just watch Bjergsen play, you'll be like, hey, this guy is doing a lot. He's really making the moves, making the decisions, and making the sacrifices he needs to do in order to make sure his team can get ahead and win in the end. So that's why Bjergsen is my all-pro third team mid.
Man, you made all the good points.
Oh,
what am I
I'm sorry. You can talk about bad points.
I don't. Yeah, when I thought about when I was watching this because I watched a couple Bjergsen games from player perspective, and I watched a couple of Jensen games and things like that. And I can't remember who the other person I watched was that I was like maybe. It definitely wasn't Ica. I don't. No flame. But I was just like, as I was watching Bjergsen games, I was like, yeah, he's like super good. But do I feel like I don't think he's as good because he's been so good for so long that I'm like, oh man, I don't really want to pick Bjergsen again. But then I thought like, he in every one of these games I'm watching, they're never losing because anything mid lane. Like he's either even or ahead in every single game. The only misplay the entire split was like the 1 zillion ult misplay in like week 1, I think. And even then it's like, okay, well, that's one play in one game. And outside of that, he's looked exceptionally good in almost every game. Even their recent O2 week, I was like, oh, okay, well, he's still an absolute monster. But yeah, it's like you said, his champ pool is an ocean. He can play anything you need him to play. We're finally getting to see him with an aggressive jungler and what that can look like. Even though they don't play a ton around mid, they don't have to, and he still gets leads. So he's probably behind Doublelift the best domestic player we have right now as far as tenure, because I can't think of a split where Bjergsen is really bad ever. And this split's just the same. I mean, he's an outstanding mid laner on a team that's in the playoff hunt, and TSM we expect to probably be top 3 in the split. Yeah, he's just awesome. I've been so impressed with him again this split, and I feel like I had kind of pushed him out of my mind with Team Liquid being so good and TSM kind of struggling in recent splits, but even then, Bjergsen wasn't really bad. I guess we're just tired of saying Bjergsen's the best mid laner in NA. But yeah. Yeah, so totally deserving of a spot as an all-pro. And third team, I think, is good for him. There's potential. It would not surprise me by end of split if we weren't talking about Bjergsen in contention for top 2, because he's just that kind of player. But I am happy to see him back, playing extremely well and with the team around him that is playing well. Go Bjergsen. I can't believe a CLG fan typing up Bjergsen.
Hey, I mean, as a CLG fan, you don't have any CLG players in their all-pro team, so...
If there was a 10th all-pro team, man, we would kill it.
If there was a 10th all-pro team...
I don't know. Dig's Academy team is pretty good, so maybe...
That's true.
I'm just kidding.
CLG should just get Dig Academy, honestly.
Just buy out Dig Academy.
Okay, so now we are moving on to third all-pro bot laner, or third all-pro ADC. For me, this one was kind of It was a difficult decision just because I can't really think of that many other ADCs. Honestly, you kind of convinced me for Bang. Bang was like your points were good But
Woo!
I'll say I did have Kabe, but then I thought about it more. But I'm gonna say FBI.
Woo!
FBI's
FBI.
been FBI's been pretty good. FBI open up, Yeah, actually, I could say Vulcan. Vulcan's here on ADC.
He's
He
100%
has a
win
100%
rate.
win rate. 8 assists.
Okay, can we say something real fast? Just because he played
Yes.
Tom Kinch and farmed does not mean that he is not the support.
He was the carry.
I know everyone's saying it, but a dead man's plate does not make you a carry. I will die on this hill that he's still the support in that game, and it's ruining all my stats looking it up because I look up KDA and he has an undefined KDA because he didn't die.
It's so funny. It's great. Oh my god.
That's the end of my rant on Vulcan. 80
All
carry.
right. I just had to bring that up. I thought it was hilarious. But yeah, I have to say FBI. He hasn't been a reason for Golden Guardians losses. As actually no, I lied. It's Kabe. Kabe is my
God,
third pro ADC.
What is this heel turn?
I'm sorry. Yeah, no, Kabe has as I said, you're gonna see a trend with my third all pro team.
Wait, is this all TSM players?
Basically, it's all TSM.
Oh my god. It's just TSM and someday.
Yeah, it's TSM and someday. That's my whole third all pro team.
Oh
Yeah,
my god.
Kabe, he's just been, as I said, ADC has been a pretty rough role for me to just gauge in general. I could have said Bang, but I do recall in an interview that Zazel did that like him and Svenskar would be having this one plan, and then Bang would have his plan, but then when they wouldn't follow Bang's plan, Bang would just go and just go off and die. And I was like, oh well, that's not what. That's crazy. But no, Kabe.
You talk about Kabe. Stop trashing Bang.
I'm sorry. I can't help. We usually trash people in the show, so I can't help.
We trash every
But
team.
anyways.
Is anyone good but Cloud9?
No, everyone's terrible. But anyways, yeah, Kabe. He's just doing his job. He's like Sven Light, but less productivity. But he's just been consistent AC. He's doing his job. He's not one to give away unnecessary depth. He's not one to misplay. He's honestly what he was in EU. He's just the consistent player. Not too much not too flashy, but he will be there to dish out the damage and do what he has to do as an ADC. And I mean that's all you could really ask for bot lanes. Don't die, do damage, and that's what he's done. It's not that strong of an argument. It's not that strong of an argument, but that's just how I feel. Kabe's just been he's been carrying on what Kabe does. That's all I gotta say.
Okay. I respect your opinion, and if you want to be wrong, it's I'm just kidding. Yeah, it was really hard because when I looked at the AD carries, I was like, I don't think any of these are really bad. It's really tough to separate people from like the list. So I went with Alltech for my third team on league.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, I know I gave you crap when you picked Alltech for second team, but I picked him for third team. So I just think he's had a really solid split, and he's been like under the radar. It feels like no one's talking about the fact that they have this team where Alltech's essentially the only main damage dealer because their mid lane has been so behind. And it's like they were in second place before last week, and no one's being like, yeah, Alltech is the majority of their damage share, and he's got a really solid KDA, and he's playing really well. But yeah, like you said earlier, I think it's easy to point out that on a team where literally the mid lane has been a black hole and the top lane has been almost on pure tank duty, someone on this team is dealing damage. And it's Alltech. I mean, Alltech is a huge reason they're in the playoff soup and everything. So yeah, that is easy pick for me. I'm really happy to see Alltech back again because I remember when he was on Winter Fox and I was like, man, this Alltech guy, he's gonna be so good. He plays in like the challenger scene, and I can't wait to see him. And he just like never got there, and then, now he finally is playing well, and it's like no one notices. So yeah, I'm happy. This is for you,
yeah.
Alltech. You made it twice.
Yep. Raise your glass for Alltech. He's I hope we see Alltech's Callisto soon. I just want to see him play Callisto. I know when he was on Echo Fox, that was one of his picks. They called him a Callisto one trick because that was the only champ he won on. I'd like to see that at least one more time. But now we are moving on to our third All-Pro team. As you said before, my third All-Pro team has a trend.
Don't do
it's
it.
Biofrost.
Oh, boo. Boo. I'm just kidding. I picked Biofrost also. But
yeah, see, he's been really good.
he has, yeah.
Yeah, and honestly seeing watching the games of TSM and seeing when plays in the bot lane happen, it's because of Biofrost. He's the one going in. He's the one setting things. He has and throughout the game as well. He's been super, definitely the third best support in the league. Yeah, definitely the third best support in the league. He's just been working well with the team. You could see why TSM wanted him back. And mechanically good player. Smart about the game, smart about his engages. He's just a solid player, good support. It's just, NA, we have a lot of good supports. So, I mean, other than somebody. But he's my third All-Pro team just for that reason. He's just been super good and super solid and has been carrying Kabe. So,
yeah, I agree. I think TSM has really good vision control and a really good early game, and a lot of that comes off the back of Biofrost. He's an extremely smart player. You listen to interviews with him, things like that, or if you hear comms and like the TSM show and stuff like that, a lot of times you're hearing Biofrost make a lot of the calls and things. He along with Power of Evil, I think, were some of the biggest losses CLG had last split, and it really shows because of the change.
It definitely shows.
Yeah, it shows.
They're 10th place.
Okay, look, this is not the CLG bash show, okay?
I'm sorry.
If we had a worst team in the split award, CLG could get it. The entire org, because our academy team sucks too. But yeah, Bio is an extremely good mechanical player, and he's also a very cerebral player. He's a lot of fun to watch. If you watch him stream and stuff like that, when he explains stuff, you're like, I would never think about that as a support player. And I just really hope we get to see his Bard at some point in the split, because Bard is good right now, and Biofrost Bard is amazing. Yes. That's my hope. But yeah, I guess that rounds out our third team all league.
Yep, that rounds out our third All-Pro team. There you go, guys. You got our All-Pro team picks. If you want to argue with us, you can try. Good luck getting in contact.
Yeah, because we're right.
No, that's our all. You're very. And so, that's our All-Pro team. But now we are moving on to our other reward. We have our most improved player. So this is just thinking of who, like, just the beginning of this, how have they progressed, and just how, and just like how their play has really helped the team. Do you want to start with your most improved player, actually, Vega?
Yeah, I kind of went in a weird place with this. So I thought about who in preseason, when we did our preseason pod, was I like, I don't know about this player. Maybe they'll be good. Maybe they won't be, to where they are now. So I picked Blabber because from Worlds last year, and like when we did our preseason pod, and we were like, he can be good if, they can play aggressively around him. And he has been like so much better than even I thought he could be.
Yeah, he's really been smashing it.
Yeah, so for me, he's most improved player because, I watched Worlds last year, and I remember Reddit being like, why isn't Santorin playing? He's your MVP jungler. Why is Blabber playing games at Worlds? Stuff like that. And then this split, I'm like, holy crap, Blabber is so much better than Sven. Like, this is insane. And so for me, he clearly, just from where I thought he would be beginning of the split till now, I did not expect him to be this good at all.
Yeah. I'll say, to be fair, I feel like people forget, like, the early game for some of C9's games. Like, Blabber was pretty good in the early game.
Yeah.
But, that's what Blabber's known for. But the fact that he was able to perform that well in the early game, I mean, already spoke a lot. for him in the first place. He hasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought I guess I was worried about consistency early in the before the split started. I was like, yeah, I know he's got a good early game, but what happens when he doesn't have winning lanes? And then we don't know what that is anymore because they win every lane.
That's true. Honestly, I think then it was like he's just doing what he knows best. You know, he didn't have the consistent practice as with the team at Svenskeren, so he just did what he did best. And now that he has that consistent practice, he's you just see it. You see it. You're like, damn, this guy. Why was he on Academy for so long? It's because C9 didn't want to let go of him because he's so freaking good. It's like, oh yeah, obviously. So, but yeah, I agree with your pick. Definitely, Blabber's been good.
Woo! Magi seal of approval.
My most improved player. Yeah, seal of approval by Magi. Got the magic seal of approval right there. Give him a little hat. All right, and so my most improved player, I actually said Greg. So, Greg, we've been giving him a lot of shit lately. He's been getting a lot of crap, honestly, from everyone. But in the beginning, the start of the split, he was pretty decent. But honestly, coming off of last week and not the week before, but coming off of last, I feel Greg has really been making improvements even after his wrist injury. Everyone thought he's this passive player, and just last week you saw how he could be the aggressive player, making plays that Jarvan flag into. I forgot what game that was, but it was crazy because he just went in and then he still didn't die. But Greg definitely the most improved player in my eyes. He hasn't been. All right, this probably doesn't sound good. He hasn't been as awful as people put it, but he also just hasn't been that bad. He's been steadily improving, and he's been getting a lot. So I'm glad to see how the progress is going, and how he said last week how middle of this is where teams should really be showing. Last week he showed up, and I feel he'll just consistently continue to show up the way he needs to in order to secure these wins for Dig, and that's why Greg is my most improved.
I thought you were trolling me, and then now that I've listened to your explanation, it actually makes a lot of sense. So I'm glad I didn't just stop you at the beginning and be like, wait a minute, you said 3 weeks ago that Greg was terrible. But that makes sense. He's better now. That's a good point. Okay. All right. I'll accept it. I'll give it the seal of approval.
Oh man, I was about to get the hammer.
I was like, wait
trolling.
a minute.
It was like,
go back and find the sound clip. You said Greg is trashed.
You said we should summon Acadian.
Yeah, we were all the way in the Acadian trade a couple weeks ago, and now we're like, Greg's the most improved player in the league.
Hey.
Well, I guess you're right. When the bar is that low, now that he is an acceptable jungler, he has come so far.
Exactly. Yes. Thank you.
I get it now.
I'm seeing my insanity. Okay, so after that quick flame and praise session, we're moving on to our bounce back player. So bounce back player. Wait, Vega, do you want to explain this one? I can't really explain it.
Yeah, reading it, going down the list now, I'm like, wait a minute, what exactly is the difference between most improved player and bounce back player? I'll be honest with you, it was somebody I guess my thought process was, who at the end of last summer did we think was this person is terrible. They shouldn't even be in LCS next split. That has this split, all of a sudden, been good. They've refinished their image. They look better. And they've regained my confidence in them being a good player. So I'll give you I'll give you mine as the example to help explain. I picked Santorin because FlyQuest had such a drop off from spring to summer last year, and in summer Santorin looked terrible. And so I picked him as my bounce back player because he looks back in form now. He's back to where I expect him to be. So yeah, that's kind of what bounce back means. It's somebody who was decent that dropped off the face of the earth and has now resurfaced as a decent player.
Okay, all right, good. that means. Wait, did you want to give your explanation, or did you give your explanation?
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was like good in spring last year, and then in summer he like fell off a cliff as Centauran, and
Okay.
they were terrible out of nowhere, and then now they're good again.
Yeah,
So I'm
that was
like,
pretty bad.
good job, Centauran. Way to bounce back. Haha. Ba-dum-ts.
Oh jeez. Oh god. Thank God we're almost done. No.
I know.
All right. So my bounce back player was actually Dardoch. Last spring they had him in academy. Actually, he didn't play at all. And he didn't play that much at all. He was an optic. He was in academy purgatory. And I did watch some of the academy games. And spring of academy, he was trying a bit, and then gradually he just started trolling. Like this guy was not playing to his full potential. Didn't seem like he saw academy as an opportunity, but more of a waste of time, and it showed in his play in academy. But seeing him on TSM, he did make my third all pro, and just seeing how he's been performing and being just super solid for TSM, it just shows it's like, yeah, he definitely bounced back. I wouldn't say he's in form of the Dardoch I remember, when he was dueling with like Huni, when he was on Echo Fox, Huni and him jungle, and Echo Fox had those sweet jerseys. But yeah, Dardoch, since then he's not completely on form yet, but he's definitely better than I expected him to be, just based on attitude, and he's been good. He's been good.
I like that pick. I didn't think about Dardoch when I was picking mine.
You are a non-believer.
Breaking Point Part 2, TSM.
TSM. They don't win.
They don't
just,
win.
Like, punches Bergson.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Okay. And now with our players out of the way, we're going to move into more team-oriented categories. We're gonna go into coach of the split. So I'll start this off. My coach of the split, I had chosen for honestly, I like the guy in general, but I just chose him because I feel he's done a pretty decent job with the team that he's been given. And my coach of the split is actually an Arrow. He was the guy who put his faith into Keith, and he's making progress. Kind of fell back a bit last week, but it's showing that the Keith idea worked. The Keith experiment worked. He's the one who looked to get closer in FBI, and both of those players are actually both really. He's also the one who put the faith into Golden Glue, and Golden Glue has been serviceable. He's been good in lane. Outside of lane, still needs work, but the way he's been able to put this team together, and honestly, the drafts that they've been getting have been really good also. So I just have an arrow for coach to split just because of the work that he's been doing behind the scenes and just how he's been handling his team and handling Golden Guardians. So also he took a step back last split for one of his coaches, but and seeing now how this team is going and he's at the forefront for this iteration of Golden Guardians, I'd really like to give this reward to an arrow. Yeah.
That's a good pick, and it was a very heartfelt message to an arrow, your favorite coach.
I'm going to send this to him.
Just DM this to him on Twitter, just the sound clip of this part. I want to preface mine with, I think I know that Reaper is the best coach in the league right now. I think that's
hands down.
Pretty clear. We know that. So we went a little bit different way with our coaches split. I did too. I didn't pick Reaper because I kind of wanted to go with who I thought had kind of similarly done more with less. So I picked Curry, the coach of FlyQuest, because I thought they did an exceptional job with figuring out what was wrong with them last split and the places they needed to make changes this split, and just switching out mid and support into ones that fit their mold of a team. And they've been awesome. Their drafts are fun. They do a good job covering up a lot of their weaknesses and things like that. And I said on this podcast when they went 0-2 that week, I was like, FlyQuest is done. That's it. They were 3-1. They're not, I have no faith in FlyQuest turning it around. And they've adapted and been awesome since that point. They changed their play style. They play almost completely differently. They've adapted to the meta well. So props to Curry. Really good job with this team and building it this year. I'm excited for FlyQuest the rest of the year. So, yeah. I don't have a heartfelt thing like you do with an arrow because I don't know that a lot about Curry. But good job with the team. I actually had to go to Wikipedia and figure out who was the coach of FlyQuest when I was doing this. So, props.
Yeah, just some quick research.
Quick research. Now I know it's you, Curry. So, good job.
Nice.
There's no trophies for this, but you can imagine one.
Yeah, we have no trophies. If you want, I could draw you a nice little picture and send it to you guys. But other than that, we don't have any real reward.
That's it. That's all you get.
You just get a picture. But all right. And now we're moving on to Org of the Year, which is perfect because you brought up the coach of the team that I chose. Honestly, okay. I feel like we both chose this team.
Yeah, we did. There's no way you don't pick them for this.
Yeah, there's no way you do not pick FlyQuest. Their rebrand has been so good. This team has just been great. So much positivity. Their whole message, everything they have done so far this split is amazing. And it shows how effective it has been because so many other teams have been catching on or trying to help out or even using FlyQuest as some type of PR. They're like, hey, we're going to match FlyQuest for, like Cloud9 did it. It's like for however many Cloud Drakes we get, we're going to plant trees. And EG with BookQuest, even though EG doesn't really have a brand, they did their little BookQuest thing for their quote unquote genius. FlyQuest, what they have done this split has been revolutionary. I feel I still need to get one of their jerseys because they're really nice. But yeah, FlyQuest, just what they've done, I feel has shaken up the scene a bit because their rebrand came out of nowhere and everyone's tree quest, FlyQuest, G quest, FlyQuest, and it's great. These guys are great.
Yeah. It's such a good offshoot from what they were before, which was this weird Snickers green and yellow team. And it was like, what is this?
Just a Snickers team.
Yeah, what is this? What is FlyQuest? And then when franchising came out and they made it in, everybody's like, how did FlyQuest make it in? We don't even know what they are.
That's true. That was so random. No one thought FlyQuest was gonna make
fucking FlyQuest is an LCS team. And then now I'm like, yeah, they're like, when I think of brands, they're like one of my favorite brands. They're like so unique in what they've done. So yeah, just props to them. Super good job. I definitely have to buy one of those jerseys because they're so different than all the other LCS jerseys. I'm just like, I have to have one of these. But yeah, I don't have much to add. FlyQuest, great job. No one cared about you before the split except for that one FlyQuest fan on Reddit. And now a lot of people like you.
Yeah, now EG is the old FlyQuest. Actually, I feel like Immortals is the old FlyQuest.
Yeah, I'll say this. Even though EG's brand makes no sense, I am at least interested in it. I am at least paying it. They're at least making efforts. And I'm like, you guys make some cool videos every now and then. And your players are interesting. The problem with FlyQuest and Immortals now is just I'm like, okay, but I don't know who on this team do I care about? Last split when you're your most interesting player is Wild Turtle, and he's going going around in a tuxedo at Worlds interviewing people what is this? What is FlyQuest?
That was a Wild Turtle and Snickers.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't know. I'm just so glad they rebranded.
Yes. All right. I'm glad that after each segment we have added in a little bit of flame. It's super funny.
We're not going to let you forget what you used to be, FlyQuest.
Yeah, just so you know, we know you messed up. Okay. Now with our rewards out of the way, we are going to leave you guys off with some of our playoff picks for the end of this. For me, I'm gonna start off with my first seed, obviously C9. Second seed would be FlyQuest. They've just been too good. Third seed, I actually have. Sure, they've just lost a few games recently. I feel they could after seeing their game last week, but also after seeing their game last week, that kind of shows why they're third. They could be fourth, honestly, but Dig, I feel, could be third seed. Fourth seed, I have TSM, and fifth seed, I actually have TL squeezing in there. And sixth seed, I have 100 Thieves. You know, people probably thought I was going to choose Golden Guardians, but 100 Thieves, they actually showed some proactivity last week. And you know, as we said in the previous episode, the end of the round robin is a time to really step up and show that you are here to play and you can learn and grow. And 100 Thieves last week honestly impressed me. They almost beat TSM if they didn't mess up. They should have just let that tier 2 tower go in bot lane, and they probably could have won. That's not the point here. 100 Thieves 16. I feel that
I like it. I like your list. I knew you were gonna pick 100 Thieves. I was like, I know who he's a real fan of. He's like gonna pick Golden Guardians. For me,
I've been exposed.
Yeah, I know your true colors. I picked first seed C9. I think that's 100%. You're crazy if you're not picking them first seed. FlyQuest is my second seed. Also, they just look like second best team right now. My third seed is TSM. I think TSM is going to end the split there. Fourth seed Immortals. I think they're good enough to be a playoff team. I don't see Immortals going much deeper than the first round, but we'll see. I agree with you. Team Liquid 5 seed. I think there's too much talent for them not to squeeze into a playoff spot at the end. And drum roll, guess what? EG's still going to playoffs.
Jesus Christ.
Sixth seed. I'm not getting off this train. EG is going to playoffs.
They're not going to playoffs.
Until they're eliminated, they are going to playoffs. And I'll tell you what,
my God.
They're going to upset somebody in the first round too. They're going to be a top 4 team.
No, they're just going to run it down. If they do make it to playoffs, they're just going to freaking run it down.
I'm staying on this train until they are mathematically eliminated.
Okay, all right.
I'm going to stay on this train.
All right. I honor you for your loyalty.
I'm staying committed to my preseason picks.
Oh, man. Okay. With that, is there anything else that we want to add, or?
I think that's it. We said this was going to be like a 30-minute pod, and then we made it an hour anyways because we just love flaming every team in the LCS.
Yeah, it's just a thing that we got to do here. All right, but all right. Thank you guys for listening to our picks and rewards for the year. Well, for the split, not the year. The year's not over yet. And thank you for listening for our playoff picks as well. Tell us what you think, and thank you for listening. And once again, shout out to our current listeners, our new listeners, our international listeners, our old 70-year-old grandma listener. Thank you once again for listening and giving us a chance to do this, you know, because it's something that we really like, and I'm glad that people are enjoying it. So thank you guys, and I hope you have a good night. Hope you have a good day.